being born with some impurities that need to be corrected?
Lots of. Only impurities are born.
Could another way of looking at this be that a baby, when they're born, they're still not corrupted by the impurities of the present world? They may have some from their past reincarnations.
Who brought impurities in the present world? Did they rain from the skies? You'd say the elders, but the elders were babies one day. Where did they get the impurities from? First of all, spirituality is about realizing that all nonsense emanates from the DNA. You are born with nonsense. That body identification is the fundamental problem and the root cause of all violence. It's the body that is violent because it is the body that is coming from the jungle. We share this body with the chimpanzees, with the dinosaurs, with the lions, tigers. Every single animal in the jungle is this body. And therefore all the problems of the jungle are contained in this body. It's just that jungle does not have the weaponry, the ammunition to execute all the nonsense that arises as some kind of impulse from this body. So they only have impulses, but they cannot execute those impulses. When we have impulses, we have missiles to execute them because we have intellect. Animals only have animalistic prakriti, but they don't have missiles and guns and computers. We are animals with missiles and guns and computers, so we are far more dangerous.
Isn't that a guilt-ridden way to think of life?
That's a factful way. If that gives us guilt, fine. To me, that gives us responsibility. And to me, that gives us a glimmer of hope. I might be born an animal, but the potential to die free of the animal is possible. In some sense, then veganism is about gaining freedom from the animal. It's not about protecting the animal. When you say you are dependent on animal products, what are you doing? You are dependent on somebody. So veganism is about gaining freedom from the animal, the outer animal and the inner animal. Presently, because we are dependent on the inner animal, so we are dependent on the outer animal as well. When you are truly spiritual, then you are not dependent on the outer or the inner animal. You are free of both, and you can't be free of just one of them. When there will be freedom, freedom will have both the sides.
So how do you, I personally believe in the anti-natalist philosophy, and I do not intend to procreate myself, although I would consider perhaps adopting children at some point. But what kind of a world do you see with majority of people being anti-natals, and then do you see the human civilization coming to an end at some point in the future? Or what does the
what
picture
I'll
hold
say,
for us?
if not considered rightly, will appear either vile or hilarious. There is no great virtue in the human civilization continuing, first thing. If the child is born suffering, why do you want to bring more child to the world to make them suffer? What is the point in ensuring that the cycle continues? What is the great need or the great virtue? And what is the great catastrophe if it all, Second thing, not everybody is born to be self-realized. Right? The average kind of people will always outnumber the ones who understand. So the human race will continue, don't worry. There will be always enough people who will never understand what I am saying, and therefore they will keep on bearing 2 kids, 4 kids, 20 kids. So don't worry, human race is not at the risk of annihilation. I will never be totally understood, and the race will continue.
So then eventually, do you think the average minds will, overpopulate as compared to the reasonable or the self-realized ones?
Do you think that has not been happening till this date?
It has.
The ones who understand lose interest in procreation. Therefore, who is left to procreate? All the ones who do not understand. And that has been happening since the beginning of time. So it's not a new thing that will happen.
See, if I might ask a question here. James Lovelock said, if the earth improves as a result of human presence, we will flourish. If it does not, we will perish. So he's imagining a system in which the earth improves as a result of human presence. In that case, aren't human beings then an asset to the planet?
No, that's the improvement that we can bring to the earth.
Correct.
The improvement is that human beings have taken the status of earth down from 0 to minus 200. So what do you do when you want to improve from a point of minus 200? You bring yourself up to 0. So let us reduce to 0. The improvement that we can bring to earth cannot be positive or affirmative. It can only be reductive. There were these twin towers in Noida, right? Right? And they were wrongly made or something. I do not know the nuances of the case. How did you improve the situation in that locality? By bringing them down. That's the improvement we can bring about. Dismiss, demolish, finish it off. Sounds so very nihilistic. Huh? No?
It does.
It does. So then please remember, it is only when you clear away the nonsense that there is some room, some space created for something beautiful or clean. You know what the situation of this studio was just yesterday night? You won't want to look at that picture. It was all cluttered and chaotic and in the worst shape possible. Then it was brought into this form because you were arriving. What did we do in the first place? We cleared away the nonsense. That's what this earth today needs. It has too much nonsense. First of all, that needs to be annihilated. We need Shiva for Pralay. That's the fundamental requirement. And after that, we can have a great beginning. So do not think that 0 means 0. 0 means beauty. The entire philosophy of Buddha is Shunyavad. Shunyavad. Let it all be reduced to 0. And then you will see something magnificently beautiful. What that thing would be, we do not know, and we cannot even predict. But what we know is that what we have currently is extremely nonsensical. So let's do what we must and clear this away.
What is your advice for a self-realized individual to reconcile with this clutter and still, be able to live a relatively happy and content life?
To begin with, create a little clean space from where you can operate. That little clean space then becomes your war room. And then you operate from there and you want to somehow expand that space of cleanliness.
And so that is the purpose. No, just do what you can, right?
What else? What else? What else?
Thank you.
This is Arjuna. That is being called to battle.
We do not know whether anything would come out of it. But this is the minimum and the maximum we can do. So we do that. If you start thinking of the results, it hardly energizes you. If you want to lose, then start thinking of the results. Because common sense and normal extrapolation tells you that the battle is just too impossible to win. But the battle is just too essential to be ignored. So you fight it. Impossible to win and impossible to ignore. What do? You fight it without caring for the results. What else can you do?